So, hello everyone. My name is Lucas from Brazil. Currently, I am pursuing a master degree in philosophy here in my local university. And my research basically focuses on Japanese philosophy, particularly the thought of Nishida Kitaro. And today, I'd like to share some insights into his idea of God and also how it relates with his notion of consciousness and also with his notion of nothingness. So that the title of my talk is Beyond Dualities, Nishida Kitaro's concept of God and the unity of experience. And the goal of this presentation is to explore how Nishida conceives God in his early philosophy, in his early writings, and also, like I said, examine how it's connect with his notion of absolute nothingness. And to guide this discussion, our discussion here, the structure that we will follow is straightforward, very simple one. So I will try to introduce some basic concepts like who is Nishida and what is his main writings. And we move to two main question. What is not God for Nishida and what is God for Nishida? Then we can came with final thoughts. Okay, so just to introduce, usually we don't do something like that to introduce a philosopher, but um, as Japanese philosopher, he is not widely known in the Western academic circle. So I think it's important just to mention some initial thoughts on Nishida. So basically, Nishida was a Japanese philosopher, and he is best known as the founder of the Kyoto School. And the Kyoto School became most prolific and influential philosophical movement in modern Japan. And currently, the Kyoto School is in fourth generation. So it started with Nishida, and we can see that it's growing. Uh, and also Nishida was, despite of not being known, Nishida was a prolific writer. So he left behind like 19 volumes of collected work. So we have like a lot of writing from him. Uh, and one of the most, I can say that the pain of Japanese philosophy is translation, as we don't have, although Nishida having written a lot of books and other writings, we still have few translations. So that's why probably is not widely known yet, but currently, we are working hard in translating his work to Portuguese, and we can see also in the English speaking academics and also other languages that is translating his work. So I think in the few years, Japanese philosophy will be more widely known. And also, he is famous for some of main concepts like Junsui Keiken, which is pure experience, Jikaku, which was translated in English as self-awareness, which is not a good translation actually, but uh, it's one of his most important concept. And also his theory about Basho, which is place. Basically, it's his theory on absolute nothingness. So also, Nishida was prolific thinker on religion, as other Japanese thinkers. So he started with this publication. This is first book from Nishida, An Inquiry into the Good. And despite of its title, it's not a book about ethics or how we should live or something like that. But basically, the goal of the book is to investigate the ultimate reality. So Nishida tried to seek the foundation of the reality. through this work. And for that, he criticized physicalism. So one of the main critique of Nishida is to deny uh, physicalism as foundation of reality. So he rejects matter as foundation of reality. And also he criticized dualistic view of the world. And the dualistic view here is not only the spiritual and physical world duality, but also uh, the epistemic duality. So Nishida criticized the subject and object separation in his work. And as a conclusion of his inquiry, he came with a main claim of the book, which is phenomena of the consciousness are the sole reality, which is basically his concept of pure experience. And also in the same book, Nishida uh, has some thoughts in religion and God. So the current talk is to try to explore what Nishida says about God in this first book. So is his early thinking, uh, but it's very nice to see how he developed his thought on God. Okay, so in one of the last chapter of the book, Nishida starts to talk about religion and God. And he starts by saying that religion and philosophy should not be separated. That means it's not that philosophy is a intellectual framework in how we understand the world, and that religion is our practical view. Instead of that, Nishida tried to unify religion and philosophy in the same framework. So his understanding of religion is basically the same as his understanding of philosophy. Because for Nishida, philosophy is an inquiry, an investigation of a foundation of the reality, but this is same for religion. So he believes that religion is not a product of society or culture, but religion is a fundamental demand of the self, of the human being, trying to seek the grounding existence of the true reality. So in this sense, for Nishida, the inquiry of the religion is the same of the philosophy, and he tried to parallel with his notion of the pure experience by saying that the experience uh, before separation between subject and object, that's it, the subject that perceives something and object which is perceived. Uh, the experience before this state of separation is the uh, foundation of reality. And he thinks that both philosophy and religion should can come with same conclusion on that. And proceeding with his understanding of the God, he introduced the term kami in Japanese, which is translated as God. Uh, so when Nishida starts to talk about God, uh, he starts to talking about what is not God. So in the chapter 3 of the last part of the inquiry into the good, uh, Nishida starts by saying that God is not a transcendent creator. Uh, so here we can see that Nishida is trying to criticize the Western notion of the mainstream notion of the God, which is a more theistic view of the God as a creator of the world. So Nishida starts by criticizing that view. So he believes that God is not something separated from the world and created that world and rule the world. So in this sense, also God is not a personal deity. So a God is not, in Nishida, God don't have an anthropomorphic notion, like being, like a being, a person. So Nishida also deny that view of the God in his writing. And also God is not object of worship. So as not being an omnipresent, omnipotent God uh, who created the world, it should not be object of worship, because God for Nishida is not a kind of deity which deserves worship. So he rejects completely the notion of theistic dualism, in which we have like a transcendental God which created the world. So this is his notion that he starts to talk when he starts to talk about God. So he proceeds saying in the Inquiry into the Good, so what is God for Nishida, and how it's related to his notion of pure experience, which is the experience in our consciousness before subject and object separation. So he gives some definitions, and the first definition Nishida gives to God is that the God is fundamental basis of reality. So basically what he's saying is that the God is essence of the universe and not creator of the universe. So God is a kind of underlining reality, the ultimate ground of reality. And also he tells us that that God is a kind of autonomous process. So it's not that God is a kind of static, fixed substance, but he understands God as kind of process, which is autonomous and creative. So here we can say some parallel with pure experience, because when Nishida talk about that state of consciousness, he also says that consciousness is a kind of process that grounds reality in autonomous manner. So the God and the pure experience, the concept of that consciousness is a kind of like same concept, uh, but Nishida used the two different terms for that. And also Nishida believes that the knowledge of God, to know God, it shall not be known by a rational way, but he think that the God should be known by experience. So the knowledge of the God, like we can see mainly in the Western tradition of the God, that we can study like properties or uh, this kind of thing of the God. Nishida don't believe that we can use reason and categories to think about God, but he thinks that God is uh, known by experience. So basically, Nishida don't go further in his notion of the God, but he starts to create a notion that differ from also with Japanese tradition, because Japanese tradition on God is basically based on Shintoism, which understand God as unified with nature and also with ancestors. But Nishida, using philosophical framework, starts to understand God as more broader sense, in the broader sense, as a base of reality. And the interesting here is that when Nishida starts to talk about God, he starts to remove everything that we usually attribute to God. And the first notion that Nishida removes is the notion of substance. So what we can see in Nishida writing is that the God that ground reality, or the consciousness that ground reality, uh, is close to his notion of nothingness. So instead of including more concepts of like substance and like the thing in itself. Nishida reject that by introducing the notion of nothingness. And all of those concepts is related to his notion of pure experience. So when we read Nishida writing about God, we can see that he rejects completely the theist view, but sometimes he is close more to like pantheism. Uh, but I think, in my interpretation, he's more close to pantheism because in his understanding, the universe and holy reality is like surrounded by other broader reality. And the interesting is that what he called the broader reality, which surround everything, is nothingness. So Nishida kind of think God as similar to his notion of nothingness as well. So I think he's more close to pantheism view, but not view that God as substance or God as personal deity, but God as absolute nothingness, which ground reality. Okay, so as a final thought, in Nishida thinking about God, we can see that pure experience is basically a primordial unity prior to subject and object distinction and foundation of reality as well. And God, as ultimate reality, is the self-unifying principle that ground our existence. So he gives those two definitions uh, about pure experience and also about God. So therefore, pure experience is the mode in which God manifests as the fundamental unity of reality. So in this sense, God is pure experience. Uh, and pure experience reveals divine structure of reality. So what the conclusion that we came reading Nishida work is that his notion of the pure experience and God is basically the same thing. It is the ground of reality. And that's why he says that the whole reality is a phenomenon of consciousness. The phenomenon of consciousness prior to separation between subject and object. Uh, I think that's it from my presentation. I finished it a little bit earlier, but I think we can open to discussions.